What is up, you guys? I'm Charmx, and today I'm going to be reacting to Film Theory, Your Memories Are a Lie, Men in Black, Neuralizer in Real Life by the film theorist. Now, this is a very interesting topic, because I always wondered, you know, if they could make something like that where you just go, boop, and then your memory is like erased or whatever. That'd be crazy. Anyway, with that being said, the original link's in the description. Make sure you go subscribe to the film theorist. Don't need further ado. Let's begin.
I'll be the first to admit, not every prediction I make ends up being correct.
Also, I should mention this. I have to mention this. Congratulations to Matt Pat, because he is going to be a father. He announced on Twitter, I don't know when he announced it. It was the other day. And he announced that he's going to be a father. And no, it wasn't on Twitter. I think it was an actual video he made. But yeah, congratulations to Matt Pat, and there we go.
Correct. And maybe not every theory is your favorite. Or maybe you're just sick of my puns and nonstop meme references. Well, today, I'm gonna do something about it. I want you to think of everything I've ever done that you didn't like. Bad Star Wars prediction, a groan-worthy dad joke, whatever comes to mind. Now, focus on it. Got it? Great. Now, if you'll just do me a favor and look right here. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, protecting the world from the scum of poorly cited research. So, after suffering my way through Bright on Netflix, widely hailed to be the worst movie of 2017...
Really? Bright was one of the worst movies? I like that movie! Yeah, look at the audience score is 86. The audience score is 86. I like that movie. I guess I'm not alone. I think it's really well done. Sure, some things in it don't make sense, so it's dumb, but it's still pretty funny, and I like it. I like that movie. Why do critics are the worst?
Which it's not by a long
ironic. I guess I'm a critic in its own way, isn't it?
shot, but it did provide me some great out-of-context lines, such as...
Fairy lives don't matter today.
And...
You know what they say, once with the Dark Lord, always with the Dark Lord.
I decided to take a trip down memory lane to revisit Will Smith's, well, maybe not his better early movies, but I at least liked them a lot when I was growing up. And first up on the nostalgia trip was Men in Black. Back from the time when Will Smith couldn't decide if he was an actor or a rapper. Sometimes he was both.
Rushing on pretenders in the West, don't mess with us, 'cause we in the Wild Wild West.
If you call Wild Wild West rapping or acting.
That's what I do.
Anyway, Men in Black gave us the Neuralizer, a device that with one flash makes you forget practically anything, except the fact that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That one is locked in there. I'll let Tommy Lee Jones explain how the Neuralizer works.
This is called a neuralizer. This red eye here will isolate the electronic impulses in your brains, and more specifically the ones for memory.
Everyone looking at the light gets zapped, their memories of what they've just seen get erased, and the agent replaces it with a different memory with a lot fewer aliens. Cool, so it's a sci-fi gadget, big whoop, right? Well, we've learned a lot about memory since this movie first came out 20 years ago, and I'm
20 years? 20 years, really? 20 years? Man, I'm friggin' old.
Telling you right now, the Neuralizer has gone from a creation of science fiction to something we could totally make today. You
What?
ever had deja vu? How do you know the real Men in Black haven't already neuralized you and the deja vu is just you experiencing something that was wiped
Oh, come on now. Don't do this. Don't play with our minds.
from your memory the first time? Long story short, in order to make a Neuralizer, we need to establish 3 things. 1, that memories can be erased. 2, that false memories can be forced into people's heads. And 3, that it can all be done with a flash of light. So get ready.
Now, I don't know, you know, if a flash of light could put memories in your head and take them away. But as far as false memories being created, that's 100% possible because, I believe there was a study done where people, like, tried to convince other people that they did something bad, and eventually the people ended up believing that they did something bad, but really they didn't, and they just had basically false memories given to them. So I believe it is possible for that one, but as far as with a flash of light, I don't know.
Because here comes the Mad Cat. He won't let you remember your childhood the same way ever again.
What?
See, I can't rap either, Will Smith. You're in good company.
Sorry.
Point number 1, can memories be erased? I mean, we've all heard stories of being unable to form any new memories to determine who killed your wife, so you tattoo clues on yourself instead of writing them down on paper like a normal person. But is it plausible that we could wipe out specific memories of things that we had just seen? Turns out the answer is a solid yes. And it comes from a place you might be surprised to hear on a channel that prides itself on science. I'm talking about hypnosis, but not the kind with some spinning spiral thing.
Yeah, didn't you do a video recently regarding hypnosis? Or something like that. I remember seeing a video with hypnosis recently from the Film Theorist. Or it was either the Game Theorist. It was Matt Pat.
That makes you think you're a chicken, or makes you want to subscribe to the Film Theorist channel, subscribe to the Film Theorist channel, subscribe to the Film Theorist channel. I'm talking about hypnotic induction, which is a real therapeutic technique to get patients into a deep state of relaxation, which increases theta waves in their brain. You know how you get all your great ideas in the shower? Well, it's because relaxing in a shower results in a high concentration of theta waves, which makes connecting otherwise disparate ideas in your brain a whole lot easier. This also applies
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
to memory, but theta waves can also be used against you, and hypnosis here is the key, blocking memories that you'd otherwise be able to recall. For instance, and this is nuts, last year Samsung released an online hypnotherapy tool called Unspoil Me that walks you through a self-hypnosis session that's supposed to help you forget movies and TV shows so you can watch them again as if you're watching them for the first time. Full disclosure, I had Chris from our team do it, and yeah, he still remembers the Red Wedding, but he's recently been overcome with this strange urge to buy a phone that spontaneously combusts. No, but all jokes aside, after going through this treatment, he could no longer remember how the series ended, whether he had even seen the series end in the first place, even the main character's name. And
Really? It works that well? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But could you imagine if someone just a little bit evil got their hands on this Samsung, thing, right? And in the process of hypnosis or whatever, of you doing it to yourself, they just include a couple things and just to mess with you. Could you imagine? Oh, that could turn against you fast.
for as ridiculous as that might seem, the science behind it is actually 100% solid. In 2007, scientists published a study in which they showed participants a movie, then hypnotized them to try and make them forget it. When they tested the group that had been hypnotized, the subjects couldn't recall details of the movie that they had just watched. Maybe they should have just had hypnotists outside of the Emoji Movie. That's 90 minutes of my life I'd like to forget. Anyway, the people who had been hypnotized could remember where they had watched the movie and other details surrounding the experiment, but they actually couldn't remember what happened in the movie itself. And it's not like they were just forgetful either. They actually demonstrated different kinds of brain activity from a control group that wasn't hypnotized. This kind of isolating amnesia is exactly what we see demonstrated in Men in Black. When normal people come into contact with aliens, the Men in Black don't just wipe the person's memory completely. Instead, they isolate one element of the memory, just like the film study did, and they replace that memory with something else. Which of course brings us to our second question: can you...
Are you sure this is a good idea to make this video, Matt Pat, telling people, oh no, yeah, you can create this kind of a device that'll make you forget things just like that? Are you sure this is the best idea?
really implant false memories into someone's brain? And yet again, the answer is yes. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. A Canadian psychologist named Julia Shaw has demonstrated that when people are asked about their involvement in events that never occurred, their memories will actually start to form versions of that fictional scenario, and the people will eventually believe that it happened. Here's Dr. Shaw telling one of her subjects about a completely fictitious event.
So the other event which your parents reported happening was when you were 14 years old, you initiated a physical fight and the police called your parents.
The girl responds pretty much exactly as you would expect from someone who had just had a story made up about him.
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about.
Man, I gotta say, Canadians are so polite, even when they're calling people liars. Anyway, fast forward just a few minutes in this interview, and all of a sudden, the same woman suddenly has memories of the event.
The cops showed up, and we were kind of having verbal.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I can't be the only one who thinks that, you know, that could be used in such a negative way. Like, if you're under investigation or something for, like, a murder or something, and the police are like, you know what, we can't find the actual person, let's blame this person. You could just make him believe he did it. Science has gone too far.
Kind of fight, and then it kind of maybe got to a push, and then at that point there's kind of cops coming.
All the psychologist had to do was provide a framework for the event, get the subjects to try and remember, and suddenly their brains fill in what's missing from the memories, which is, of course, everything. The memories weren't there to begin with. Some of it is also situational here. The subjects are likely influenced by a desire to comply with an authority figure asking them questions. But that's exactly what would be happening if you met the Men in Black in real life. Now, of course, I can see your counter-argument here. Sure, these false memories might be implanted, but it's not like they're gonna stay in anyone's memory or be trusted for any length of time. And yeah, that would totally make a lot of sense if it had any bearing on facts. False memories run rampant, even in situations where our memories matter the most, like, say, when you're testifying at a murder trial. You ever heard of someone wrongly convicted of a crime
Exactly! Friggin' exactly!
being exonerated by DNA evidence? Well, statistically, that person was probably convicted in the first place because of a false memory. According to the American Bar Association, an astounding 3/4 of the cases overturned by DNA evidence relied on eyewitness testimony for the wrongful conviction. Oh yeah, that's totally the guy I saw killer. Well, DNA evidence proves he was in Hawaii. Sorry you missed out on years of your life, buddy. Now imagine for a moment that you've just come to the realization that aliens not only exist, but walk among us on Earth because you saw something absolutely bananas go down, and then some very calm, in-charge looking person in a great suit shows up and flashes something in your face and tell you that you didn't see what you really thought you saw. Even if the neuralizer was just a flash of a Polaroid camera, you're pretty likely to walk away believing what they just told you. All right, Matt Pat, cut the BS. You're probably saying right now, enraged by my suggestion that
Wait, what? I'm kind of confused what's going on now. Like, for the most part, I've understood, but what's he talking? What? What's going on?
memory is about as reliable as a cable company showing up on time. These examples you're giving me are from carefully controlled experiments that took place over long periods of time. Sure, you might be able to force people to forget things or remember things that never happened, but you can't do it instantaneously with a flash of light.
Are you sure about that?
Because scientists have already done it. Oh yeah, loyal
What?
theorists, the future is here. And to quote Mr. Meeseeks, it's getting weird. Optogenetics is a new branch of neuroscience that
Could you imagine if Matt Pat did that in this video? Like, I was just thinking, what if Matt Pat did, like, you know, a flash on the screen and then said something and that got most of us to be hypnotized or whatever? Could you, Matt, don't do that. Don't do it to me. I hope he didn't.
enables researchers to control individual neurons through electronic impulses directly into people's brains. It's pretty complicated, as one might expect electronic mind control would be, but here's the gist of it. Scientists can modify the genomes of mice to be particularly sensitive to certain kinds of light, and they can also map the areas of the brain that are stimulated when the mice is experiencing something that would form a good memory, like when it's eating food or when it's in its home. In this clip right here, a mouse is put into a bright box with no hiding place, and it responds with a fear response. It's cowering in the corner. It's scared of this new environment, right? But once they flash the light into the mouse's brain, they've basically turned on a switch that activates the good memory, and suddenly the mouse starts moving around the box like it's home.
Man, scientists... What? Cure cancer! Stop freaking messing with mice. Cure cancer, okay? Stop trying to control people's minds. Cure cancer. I think that's the priority here. You guys got your priorities all messed up.
Turn the light off again, and the mouse stops immediately, dead in its tracks. Turn it back on, and it's grooming itself like it's back home. Turn it off again, and, well, you get the idea. Now, granted, mouse brains aren't human brains, but as we explored with Dan Harmon in the Pickle Rick episode, they're structured similarly enough that in a few years, this could easily get transferred into the human brain. It also proves Kay's assertion at the beginning of Men in Black that the light from the neuralizer is enough to interrupt signals in the brain. And this kind of on-off switch effect for memories actually coincides with what we see in later movies in this series. In Men in Black 2, we find out that memories that have been neuralized can be brought back. So it's not so much that they're getting deleted as they are getting switched off. So it would make sense that the Men in Black have developed a kind of optogenetic technology that can activate certain parts of the brain and shut off others instantly with a single remote flash of light. So there you have it. The neuralizer is physically possible. But
I'm kind of paranoid now that MatPat is gonna try something like, you know, flash lights on the screen, and then like kind of like say something that would like hypnotize me or something like that. Matt, don't do this. Don't do it. I already have enough worry in my life.
In order for it to be practical with near-future technology, it would mean that every single human being would have to be genetically engineered to be sensitive to certain kinds of light, and then also have transponders implanted into their brains to receive the signals that were sent from the neuralizers. But in the Men in Black universe, that's definitely what's happened. The entirety of—
See, you could also use, I believe, music, right? Something that, like, the background music there was perfect for that situation where it's really rhythmic and it gets your mind into a certain state of relaxation. So that music could also do the same thing as like a shower. And that's why I was afraid that Matt was going to try to pull something.
of New York City is neuralized by the Statue of Liberty's torch at the end of Men in Black 2. So we know both that everyone is susceptible to this technology and that the Men in Black have engineered the world to keep their secrets under wraps. With all the alien technology they have access to, it doesn't seem like too big of a stretch to say that they're putting chips in all of our heads, and as long as they keep neuralizing us along the way, we won't know the difference. In fact, who's to say that we don't have chips in our brains right now, and that we've all forgotten the memory because we've already been neuralized? But hey, that's just a theory.
Freaking terrifying theory. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. This is probably one of the most interesting videos that MatPat's done, if I'm honest. I mean, they're all really interesting, but this one, this one was really something. And, in conclusion, yeah, I guess you can be hypnotized kind of like that. Which, if that is the case, I was getting paranoid that Matt was gonna try something because that music was really hypnotic, in the background music. And so if you have that going, that might also produce the same effect as the shower, where you're more open to suggestion or whatever. But anyway, I hope you did like this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, possibly share with a friend if you're new, and subscribe and join the family. Also, make sure you go subscribe to the Film Theorist. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Boop!